that transition between the love of the French and growing up in an Italian family, and how did you transition from that to the French to such a different culture like Japan?
Well, we started in about in 2000. Well, it goes back to when I was working in Switzerland. This was 1983, I think. The restaurant, I was the chef de cuisine in a very good Swiss restaurant. It was called Chez Max. And the owner was, the chef was Max Kell, K-E-H-L. And he took me and his partner on this trip to Tokyo to participate in a cooking competition, 15 countries. This is back in 83. And that was my first experience of Japan. I really liked it. I thought it was an amazing place.
The people are so nice there.
So nice, and the food was amazing, and everything. It reminded me of kind of like Switzerland, the way everything is, very clean and organized, and everything works, and everything's on time. So I really enjoyed that experience. I didn't know when I would ever get back to Japan, but so then I came back here, started to work at La Caravel, and then I started to work at Union Square Cafe. And in 2004, I was invited by the Hilton Hotel in Japan, Nagoya, the city of Nagoya, to go and do a week-long cooking, Union Square Cafe cooking.
Oh, okay.
So I decided to go. I took my pastry chef, and we went, and we prepared these dishes for a week. It was a great experience. Excuse me. I got to visit Kyoto and see a little bit of Japan. But it was a short trip. I think it was just a week. And again, it was just so wonderful. I got to see a little bit more of Japan, and I really liked it. So then, a year or so later, we started getting requests from a Japanese company to open a restaurant there in Tokyo.
Oh, okay.
And so we looked into it. We were thinking about it, and I, of course, was saying, yes, we should do it.
You were so much involved. You were still cooking?
Oh, yeah, I was still day-to-day cooking at that time. And so I went, my partners and I, several of us went to Tokyo to meet these people and see the place that they were talking about. It was a new building, new complex that was going to open up. Amazing, kind of like a $3 billion complex. And they had a really nice space available for this restaurant. So a lot of negotiation, of course, and a lot of discussion, and we finally decided we would do a Union Square Tokyo. And so we started working on that, and that opened in 2007.
Okay.
So at least a year before, I was going to Japan and talking to them and getting ready. And then when it opened, I spent 2 months there. And since then, I've been going back at least twice a year, 3 times a year, to work in the restaurant and also take vacation. And I started to make friends and meet a lot of people in Japan. So now I've been, I think, 30 times to Japan. And I'd like to live part of my time there at some point. So, yeah, it's just been great. And
you fell in love with the culture.
Yeah, absolutely.
People they are so respectful, and
yes.
they are so traditional.
Yes.
It's so different than here.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's a lot of the young people there are, like young people anywhere. They want to change, and they look like young people here, and they listen to the same music, but still, something about them remains Japanese, and they still connect to their culture.
The roots.
But so it's not. It hasn't changed yet, but I hope it still keeps that Japanese sense in the culture.
So you fell in love with the culture and the cooking and the food and.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And going back to that, there's 2 restaurants that were named the best two restaurants in Asia, and I think you know them, Narisawa.
Yes, I've heard of Narisawa.
And they are French-style cooking techniques with Japanese ingredients.
Mm.
What do you think of that?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, the Japanese do. I've been to many sort of French restaurants and Italian restaurants in Japan, and they do it really well.
How do they do that? How do they combine
they
the
really
French?
study. They they'll go to the country and really study hard, and that's the amazing thing about the Japanese when they determine they're going to do something and they really get it really well, and they're able to reproduce it very faithfully, and they do it. I've had some really good Italian food in Japan.
Wow.
The chef's not Italian,
Incredible.
Yeah, it is great. It is great.
So eating in this restaurant, if somebody asks to you that you have more experience, a French-style cooking techniques and all Japanese ingredients.
Yeah.
That's basically what they do. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, they use, of course, Japanese ingredients because they're buying it from Japan, and Japanese ingredients are very good. But they'll also get ingredients from France and foie gras and things like that. They use this kind of stuff, and they're able to get a lot of that stuff. We were getting the Iberico pork from Spain, but not ham or cured, but fresh.
Yeah. Okay.
Fresh, like the loin of pork. It's so good. So good. It's expensive, but it's really, really good, which we can't get here.
Because it's raw? Or because
it was raw, yeah. But they were getting it in Japan.
Okay.
So you can get a lot of great ingredients. And the Japanese ingredients are so great.
And the other restaurant is called, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce it right, Nihon Ryori. That's the second best in Ryori?
Yeah, Nihon Ryori means Japanese food.
Oh, really?
That's what the words mean, yeah.
They combine...
Where is that? I don't know that place.
It's the second best restaurant in Asia. And it's an 18-seat small restaurant.
Yeah.
And they combine the traditional Japanese using modern gadgets. So they do like the nitrogen thing, and they cool things quick. And so it's a completely opposite of this Narisawa, but...
Yeah. Do you know where it is? What city?
I could find the address.
Nihon Ryori. I have to look it up. Yeah, I haven't been.
Yeah.
No, do you want to know now?
No, it's fine. I can look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that kind of food doesn't really interest me that much, but because I love traditional Japanese food. I mean, sushi, for example, is so good over there.
It's completely different than here.
Well, just better.
Fresher and better prepared.
And more variety, and it's amazing.
What's your favorite sushi preparation or flavor or kind of fish to eat?
It's hard to say. I love the different macro presentations. And
how about tuna?
Yeah, tuna's great. But there's so many other things too.
Yeah. And now that you told me that you don't like, that nitrogen thing, and what do you think of that restaurant in Denmark called Mona? Have you heard of it?
Sure. Yeah, I haven't been. No, it's not that I don't like it. It's great and it's interesting. It's very intellectual and stimulating to think of food in a different way. And I really, it's hard to talk about it because I haven't been, so I don't know. I have to taste. It's one thing to think about an idea as being very original and very fun, but what does it taste like? I mean, ultimately, to me, the most satisfying thing is, does it satisfy me as food,
right?
Not as an intellectual exercise.
Well, we saw Anthony Bourdain. I don't know if you saw the show.
No reservations.
No
It's on CNN. It's like a combination. He goes to a city or a country and he does partial food and partial history or social events.
So he went to this restaurant, Mona, and he's like, I want to know what is all the hype about. What is called the best restaurant in the world?
Is it Noma or Mona?
Noma.
Noma, yeah.
Noma. So he's like, okay, let's see if this thing is true. So he's an insane chef. I fell in love with that show. You have to see that show. It's in CNN, and he's like picking up all these herbs and all these, plants from the region in Denmark. And, Denmark food is not really well known for, and he like revolutionized the country and the world, and it's only like a 45-seat restaurant, and
it's like the number one best restaurant. Yeah,
well, it's paying to cover, but
yeah.
But I wanted to have your opinion about this completely.
I don't know. I haven't tasted it, so it's hard to say. I know that food appeals more to my intellect than the sensation of taste. But again, since I haven't sat down and had the meal, I don't know.
So maybe next time, if you ever go to Denmark,
I'll have to go. Yeah, I definitely want to go. I've heard good things. Yeah.
Yeah. And okay, Japanese cuisine. And I know your book. I would like to help you promote it. I know you don't need it, but I admire you so much at Family Table. I was wondering. I know I didn't get the book, but I would like to know who are really the cooks. Are the cooks here? Are the cooks?
Yeah, it's the cooks in our restaurants. It's the people who make what we call family.
Okay.
Every day. So every day at lunch and dinner, the staff cooks for the staff, right? This is not the food that we serve in the restaurant. They have a very short time, and they have limited ingredients that they can use. So our cooks come from all over the world. We have people from South America, from Asia, from Korea, and all over the globe. So the food for India, the food shows this kind of ethnic diversity.
Wow.
We have dishes we have the arepas, we have Korean food, Italian food. So whatever the cooks want to do. So we went through and looked at everything and picked certain ones that we liked. And
that's such an original
created the recipes. And it's a fun book. It's a fun book.
We're looking at
and I think it's nice for home cooks because
Exactly.
home cooks sometimes don't have a lot of time. They don't want to spend a lot of money always, so it works well.
And they have just a few ingredients, so okay, let's see what happens here.
Yeah. And you do something that doesn't take hours and hours to cook.
So it's basically the 11 restaurants that you have. So
we took recipes from each one.
Okay.
And except Shake Shack because we don't have a family meal there, but and put in a few recipes from each one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, amazing.
It turned out nicely, the book.
Yeah,
it's a good book.
A lot of people have very positive reviews about it.
Good. That's good to hear.
Yeah, and so your cooking life has been so, like from the Italian culture and heritage to France
and also India. I was interested in Indian food. We did Indian food at Union Square Cafe for a while, and then we opened Tabla.
Right.
Which now sadly is closed. But
what happened with you think?
It just the food was great, the restaurant was great, people loved it, but I think it was just too big of a restaurant, and the overhead was too much to support. I think that food has a more narrow appeal than let's say Gramercy Tavern or Union Square Cafe. So it just economically it was too difficult. It's just too difficult.
That brings me to